Okay, hello everyone. I'm going to review The Skin I Live In with Antonio Banderas. It's a Spanish film. It is a fantastico. It's directed by Pedro Almodóvar. It's up there, top 20 or 30 most creepy or like messed up, disturbing movies I've ever seen. Like, not more thought provoking though. And where the characters are like, whoa, and going through a certain experience. It's yeah, it's very interesting. So if you haven't seen it, I guess I don't know who to recommend it to. Roger Ebert's review was interesting, where he said it was he gave it 3 stars, I think, which was like a compromise between he really appreciated the acting and the style, the cinematic kind of aspect to it, the filmmaking, but is it a movie that goes in an interesting direction? Is it something that's pleasant or uplifting to watch? I guess he didn't like it. It feels like that's the thing with my brother. He doesn't like horror movies because of I guess the way they make him feel. They're kind of dark, and why do you want to indulge? Like, why do you want to go into those feelings and directions? There's plenty of feelings that are just bottomless pits that does not. I'm sure there's all kinds of theories, but I think some things it's better to just kind of move on and kind of avoid. But so this, and any good movie should take you somewhere interesting and worthwhile. I didn't like the movie Hostel, for example. Horror, it's just like kind of torture, or some people call it torture porn. I don't know why you need to call it that, but yeah, I hated that movie specifically. I just thought it was terrible. Didn't go anywhere. But this movie I think is very interesting. But yeah, just be aware it's kind of thought provoking. It's kind of a drama, but yeah, weird, bit psychological. It is kind of a bit of horror, but it's I think the director said it's like a horror but without any jumps or scares, like screams. It's more of there's a short story, or a sci-fi little short story called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. It's one of the weirdest, like, crazy. When I read that though, I had this feeling of deja vu, but it's a very scary concept, that one. Very strange, but this movie feels a bit similar. It's kind of like this slow motion scream, but all internalized, and like you'll have to see. Anyway, so I'm gonna spoil it now. I don't know that it's that scary. It's kind of weird. It's any European movie, or I guess this one's Spanish. I just feel like they often have kind of weird, quirky things going on. Spanish language is kind of cool to listen to, so I'll spoil it now. Yeah, I guess the main thing to start with, okay, is that this girl or guy, like the way you find out what happens, the concept, it's very interesting and thought-provoking, but so messed up. I mean, anything relating to torture, or where someone is kidnapped and then you don't know what's going to happen to them. They're a prisoner, and it's that suspense, not knowing what the other person has planned for them, is terrifying. And Antonio Banderas I forget the character name, he's so patient and takes his time. And yeah, it's highly disturbing. I mean, but I like it because it raises questions. It's kind of like, who's the good guy and who's the bad guy? I feel like The Prestige does that a bit. It's like this Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman, they're kind of trying to outdo each other, or like, this seems to happen with kind of violence and with disagreements between people. The problem is, if I think we're all even and you think no, things are, and you attack me, and then you think now things are even, and I think, well, you just attacked me, I have to attack back, and you get this. And the problem is, if the attacks get bigger and bigger, and The Prestige is a bit like that, where it becomes really, really dark and quite messed up in a lot of ways. And it's kind of like they're destroying their own souls as they do it. And similarly, so I guess what happens to Antonio Banderas is his daughter. She seems to already have an issue, but yeah, it's a kind of messed up situation where I guess this guy, it is dodgy, but he's on drugs. I think she's on drugs as well. And then they kind of go out. I don't know what she was thinking would happen. Maybe she thought they'd just kind of maybe kiss, or they'd just hang out a little bit, something innocent. It's hard to know. But he obviously had other ideas. And then it's kind of, yeah, I guess it's a bit rapey. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I guess I forget the exact details, but I guess he kind of forces himself on her, and then she kind of fights back, or she starts freaking out, which also seems a little weird, and then he hits her, which is messed up, and then she passes out. But, you know, it seems like there's drugs involved as well. I don't know that you can just say, oh, she was completely innocent or she was fine, that she didn't do anything. But I think he did the wrong thing as well. But it's kind of awkward. I'm just saying that there's drugs involved as well. It complicates things. You lose control of your body, your memory. You're not going to make decisions as good. You're going to lose control of your kind of desires and, like, in the moment, what you might be compelled to do. It's like drink driving and all of that kind of stuff. It's not healthy at all. Anyway, so I guess Antonio, he kind of sees that, or sees the guy walk away, go away on his motorbike, and then decides to chase him later. And then, yeah, it's kind of creepy. He has that weird mask and then kidnaps the guy. That scene on the motorbike, though, was hilarious because the speed says like 100, I assume, kilometers per hour. I think Europe has the metric system, unlike America. But the footage, they were clearly going a lot slower, and I get it. It's just a movie, like they can't go too fast, but it really stuck out to me. It was so obvious. Maybe because I was kind of looking for it, I kind of noticed those things, but you don't. Plus, when the guy gets knocked off his motorbike at that speed, you'd be dead. You know, like, or severely injured, or at least the way it happens, it's just kind of slow and lame, and he just kind of daintily falls off. It's not. Yeah. Anyway, and it's weird that Antonio has that weird face. Like, I didn't even know if it was him at first. Yeah, and then knocks him out, and then he wakes up with the chains. It's messed up. But also, there's, I guess, with the girl, his daughter, she seems like really, really freaked out from the experience, but out of proportion, I think. And it seems that she already had issues, like social issues, within the plot of the movie. So I'm not sure what to think of that. But yeah, I mean, it's very tragic, and you can understand Antonio's anger. But that's what I mean. I think it goes too far, and what he does is probably worse in a lot of ways, or pretty extreme. But yeah, the vaginoplasty or something, the sex change operation, I guess, against someone's will, it's so messed up. And the part where he has those bigger kind of part things to enlarge, I guess, the cavity between the legs, that's messed up. And then I did think it was pretty powerful when the guy who's, I guess, starting to become a woman or look like a woman, he sees the TV and he's just kind of flicking through the channels. It's a kind of, I like scenes like that where the movie's not trying to tell you what it is. It's not like the scene has a clear cut, this is where we're going. It's kind of just observing, and then he comes back to the yoga. He skips it, and we're used to movies, anything on the TV is directly relevant to what's happening in the movie, one way or the other. Always. Practically always. And that's understandable. It's efficiency. Exposition. The story's got to go. But at the same time, it can become a bit tiresome, a bit predictable and kind of fake. It means we know we're in a movie. Nothing's real. Everything kind of fits together too nicely. But this was kind of a bit more random. We're trying to figure out what's the scene about, what's on the TV. And then he goes back to the yoga, and it's this place inside, this piece, and so he starts doing that, and it's like, yeah, I guess that's what you would try to do if you're in a situation like that. Try to just, if possible, do some kind of meditation or some inner focus where you can escape from the pain or just the shock of what's going on. So I like how the movie does things out of order. I think that's kind of interesting. So because we see the woman, she seems quite attractive, and I didn't get what's with her mood. She seems quite down or depressed. Of course, it makes more sense later. But she does yoga in different positions, and I didn't. It's kind of interesting how you learn about that later. I want to mention it reminds me a bit of Prisoners. That's a movie with Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal, I think, where I don't want to spoil it, but I guess one or more kids are kind of kidnapped or they go missing, and there's an investigation, and then the good guys maybe kind of catch someone that they think did it. They're not 100% sure, and then it's that ethical thing of, do you turn them to the police, or do you try to get information out of them? And how far are you willing to go? Are you willing to beat them up? What if they don't know anything? What if it's the wrong person? What if, or even is it just unethical? Even if you get the information out of it, what have you become in the process? Are you now evil because you're beating up this human being to try to... It's interesting. Yeah, I think that movie is really good. I highly recommend it. With this movie also, there was that guy that... This is what I mean by just kind of absurd, weird things. Like this other guy that comes to their house and he's in like a lion costume, and he's also, because it's some special day, festival or something, and he's already committed a crime and he's hiding. and I guess his mother is there. I think maybe he's Antonio's brother or half brother or something. It's kind of like a weird extra layer, but I don't mind it. It kind of keeps the movie interesting. And then he rapes the woman, which is terrible. But it seems like, or the woman, man, what was it? Vicente, who becomes Vera, and it's yeah, that was very messed up. It's quite graphic as well. This is not for kids, this movie, at all. Anyway, jumping ahead, I think it is kind of cool how Vicente, I guess, I suspected it near the end. I was like, he's gonna kill Antonio. I bet this is an act and he's trying to get close to Antonio, and then it's kind of crazy just to think what he's willing to do. He's basically willing to play a woman, willing to sleep with Antonio and go along with it, which, if you're a man, if you're straight, and then having your body changed into that of a woman, your genitals are gone, cut off, and your body's changed, and I don't know if he takes hormones, but then a man sleeping with you, and you not like, it's so disturbing. But if that's what you have to do to try to, I don't know, to try to escape, to try to save yourself, yeah, it's messed up. And then, yeah, but I kind of like how it made sense. It explained a lot of the behavior. When you look back at it, I think a lot of it makes sense. One thing that's funny is, I guess Vicente or Vera does all the tally marks. But I swear, again, it's just all these vertical lines. It's like no one knows to do 4 and then a cross, 4 and then a cross. But it is interesting, all these different words and patterns, repetitive phrases that he writes. It's like a mantra. It is disturbing. That's what I mean by like an internal kind of scream over a long period of time. And yeah, that last scene's pretty powerful when Vicente goes and sees those people. I thought it was really well acted. And it's interesting that the actor and the actress that portrayed kind of the same character, they apparently like spent some time with each other and tried to imitate each other's walking, and I think it does work pretty well overall. Although, see, a weakness with the movie was when the transition, I thought it could have been a bit more gradual. Because it kind of goes from, it's a guy, and okay, apparently he's had an operation, but we don't really see much, to it's played by the woman. And, we've got her face and the breasts, the female body. I thought it would have been interesting to just maybe have a little bit of a montage of a few things. Like, for example, the voice could change without the face changing or the body, like from hormones. Or it could be that the face changes, but the voice is still low and the chest is still flat, just a little bit of special effects or just a few shots that are just kind of weird, and also to make it a bit more interesting, show the transition a bit more. Or again, you could have the female body develop like the breasts, but the face and the voice are the same, and like one thing at a time. Well, there's probably other elements. It just, a couple minutes in the movie, it could have made it kind of more haunting and more connected. Like, we get the connection, but it just feels a little lazy, and it means we have to do a little bit more work to try to imagine that it's the same person, when it feels like a little bit cheap in terms of skipping, But yeah, that final scene, it just came across as very real. And again, I liked how it didn't try to say too much. I was still not sure where it was going, but I guess it is just that this guy, I mean, okay, he's not completely innocent, but he wasn't like pure evil. I think he made a mistake. Probably it happens out there. I think both young men and women do things that are not right, that are awkward, and that are, rape is very bad, but this kind of thing is much more of a grey area, I think, when there's drugs involved, because he kind of stopped once she passed out. He stopped and he kind of put her clothes back on, but it was still, and I'm sure a lot of people have awkward experiences, like even if it is consensual, and they may have regret. So, but what he goes through, and he's like kidnapped, and then these things are done to him by force. It's messed up, but then escapes, and then he sees these people and tells them, and I guess he has 1 or 2 pieces of information that give it away, and then it just kind of ends. I'm Vicente, and yeah, it's pretty powerful. But then it does make you think, like, what's the point of this movie? What am I meant to feel at this point? I don't know. I guess it's an interesting journey. It's quite dark. It's kind of methodical. I think Antonio Banderas is an interesting character because he has elements of like a good person, of a decent person, at least at the start. Or he seems to really care about his daughter, and he seems to be passionate about his work. But then he kind of seems to go further the other way. And is he maybe also just a sadist or something? And And it's also, yeah, like his mother is kind of weird a little bit, and his other brother or whatever, he was kind of crazy. Well, because his mother keeps saying just kill him. Like the mother seems to know about what he's done to this guy who's become Vera, the girl, and says to, yeah. And then the mother kind of defends the son. So it's like they're kind of in with each other. So all right. Anyway, I've spoken for long enough. Hopefully, I'll edit it down. These things. Yeah, I'll leave it there. It's messed up. I'd still maybe give it 7 or 8. As a horror, it is pretty good. Like if you want a movie that's kind of like at times it's like, oh man, and it has you think afterwards about it and shake your head like, whoa, okay. But yeah, all right. Thanks for watching. Bye.